You walk into a store, and somewhere above you, music is playing. Not loud enough to fully notice, not interesting enough to listen to, just present. A song you almost recognize, a beat you almost ignore, a voice dissolving into the air between shelves, lights, signs, and people. You keep walking. You look at one product, then another. You slow down without realizing it. You stay a little longer. You feel a little calmer. And if someone asked whether the music affected your behavior, you would probably say, no, of course not. It was just background music. But background music is never just background. It is one of the most underestimated forms of behavioral design in modern life. Because sound does not need your attention to affect you, it does not need to be analyzed. It does not need to be remembered. It can pass below consciousness and still change the rhythm of your body. How fast you walk, how long you stay, how tense you feel, how time passes, what you buy, how much you spend. Music is architecture made of time, and once you understand that, the world starts to sound different. The human brain is deeply sensitive to rhythm. Before you think about a song, your nervous system is already detecting patterns. Pulse, repetition, tempo, expectation. A beat is not just something you hear, it is something your body organizes itself around. Scientists call this entrainment, the tendency of biological rhythms to synchronize with external rhythms. Studies show that people spontaneously synchronize their walking tempo to musical beats, adjusting their pace without being told to. This is why music feels physical. You tap your foot before deciding to. You nod your head before thinking about it. You walk differently when a song has a strong beat. You work out harder when the playlist hits the right tempo. Your body hears before your conscious mind has a chance to vote. And that makes music incredibly useful for any environment that wants to guide behavior. Because if you can shape rhythm, you can shape pace. And if you can shape pace, you can shape decisions. In 1982, marketing professor Ronald Milliman published a study that became a landmark in retail psychology. He played background music at different tempos in a supermarket. Slow music made shoppers move slowly. Fast music made them move faster. When shoppers moved slowly, they bought more. When the music was fast, they bought less. The store did not change the products, the prices, or the layout. It changed the tempo, and the behavior changed with it. The customers still felt free. Nobody said walk slower, nobody said stay longer. The music simply made a slower pace feel natural. And once the pace changed, everything else changed. More products seen, more options compared, more items given time to become possible. Milliman later found the same pattern in restaurants. Slower music meant diners stayed longer and spent more per table. The meal itself was not different. The time around the meal was. This is the first rule of sonic design. Music changes behavior by changing the speed of experience. Fast music compresses time. Slow music stretches it. And businesses have been using this for 40 years. But music does not only change pace, it also changes meaning. Researchers played French and German music on alternate days in the wine section of a British supermarket. When French music played, shoppers bought more French wine. When German music played, they bought more German wine. The striking part? Most shoppers did not report music as the reason for their choice. A sound creates an association. The association becomes a preference. The preference feels like a personal decision. No one thinks, I bought this French wine because accordion music pushed France into my mind. They think, this bottle looks good. Music can make one idea more available than another. France, romance, sophistication, summer, nostalgia, rebellion, comfort. The right sound does not give you a reason. It gives you a mood, and the mind manufactures the reason afterward. We often do not know why we want what we want. We feel first, then we explain. Music lives in that gap. Music tells us what kind of behavior belongs in a space. In a gym, music says push. In a spa, release. In a church, become still. In a stadium, become a crowd. Imagine heavy club music in a pharmacy, silence in a sports bar, children's music in a luxury hotel lobby. The discomfort is immediate. Because the script is wrong. Not just happy or sad, but premium, youthful, healthy, exclusive, nostalgic, urban, safe, adventurous. A brand does not only have a logo, it has a tempo, a sound palette, a level of silence it can afford. This is why luxury stores often use sparse music or near silence. Silence creates space. Space implies confidence. Confidence implies value. The soundscape tells you how to behave before anyone says a word. Should you browse slowly? Grab and go? Whisper? Music answers these questions invisibly. A discount store feels different because it wants energy, movement, and volume. Background does not mean powerless. In fact, background is exactly where some of the strongest influence happens. When something is in the foreground, you can resist it, analyze it, disagree, but in the background, it becomes part of the world itself. You do not debate the temperature of a room every second. You simply behave differently inside it. Music works the same way. It becomes emotional temperature. A coffee shop with soft indie music feels like creativity. A grocery store with slow, familiar songs feels safe. A boutique with deep electronic music feels modern. A waiting room with gentle piano feels calmer, even if you are still nervous. The environment becomes emotionally labeled. And once a space is labeled, your behavior adjusts. You lower your voice. You move faster. You slow down. You spend more. You stay longer. You leave sooner. The sound becomes a behavioral instruction disguised as atmosphere. The most effective music in public spaces is often music you barely remember. If you notice it too much, it competes with the space. But if it is just familiar enough, just pleasant enough, just rhythmic enough, it dissolves into the air. And atmosphere is behavior at a distance. No command, no argument, no obvious pressure. Just a room that feels a certain way. Music does not only work on individuals, it works on groups. A crowd chanting at a stadium is not just making noise, it is synchronizing. A church choir is not just performing, it is aligning emotion. A protest song turns individuals into a movement. A national anthem compresses identity into sound. This is why music can feel bigger than language. Language communicates information. Music organizes feeling. In a movie, the music tells you what the scene means before the dialogue does. A simple shot of a house can become peaceful, threatening, or tragic, depending entirely on the score. Nothing visual has changed. The same thing happens in real life. A rally song can turn a crowd into a political force. A lullaby can turn a room into safety. Music does not describe the situation. It tells your nervous system what the situation is. Casinos may be the most extreme example of sonic design. There is no silence in a casino. Electronic tones, machine chimes, near-miss sounds, celebratory jingles, a continuous emotional loop. No clocks, no windows. And the sound never suggests that anything is ending. The gym is the opposite application of the same principle. Fast, rhythmic, emotionally pushy. It says, do not stop. One more set, one more mile. The tempo literally pushes the body beyond what it would choose in silence. And then there are apps. The tiny sound when a payment goes through, the chime, the reward tone when you complete a task. These are sonic cues. They tell you, continue, celebrate, trust, repeat. TikTok takes this further. A trending sound becomes a behavioral template. Millions hear the same 15 seconds and perform the same action. The sound is not just entertainment, it is a choreographic instruction distributed globally. Sound creates invisible structure. It tells bodies how to move through time, and whoever shapes time shapes action. The modern world is full of designed sound. Retail playlists, restaurant ambiance, hotel soundscapes, brand jingles, streaming intros, political rally songs, sports arena chants, the confirmation tone when a card is accepted, the reward sound when an app wants you to feel progress. These are not accidents, they are design decisions. The world is not silent because silence would reveal too much. It makes people aware of themselves, their thoughts, their boredom, their hesitation. Music fills those gaps. It smooths over friction. It keeps the experience moving. It makes the designed environment feel natural. A wall controls where you can walk. A sign controls what you notice. A price controls what you consider. But music controls how the moment feels while you are deciding. It works before the decision, under the decision, around the decision. It changes the emotional conditions in which choice becomes possible. The point is not that music is bad. Music is also memory, pleasure, identity, culture, grief, love, resistance, healing. A song can save a day. A song can carry a person through loss. A song can remind you who you were before the world changed. But music is never neutral. It is always doing something. To your attention, to your body, to your sense of time. The store wants the browsing you. The restaurant wants the lingering you. The gym wants the pushing you. The casino wants the timeless you. The app wants the repeating you. The anthem wants the collective you. Music is how the environment calls that version forward. Quietly. Repeatedly. Rhythmically. Until it feels like your own state. Your own pace. Your own choice. So the next time you walk into a store, a restaurant, a gym, or open an app, listen. Not to the song, to the instruction beneath it. Ask, what is this sound asking me to become? Because once you hear the pattern, the whole world sounds different.